When I was 25 years old, I was broke. Not poor, broke. Because poor is a state of circumstances, but broke. That was my choice. I worked hard, but I worked blind. I used to believe that money was only for the lucky or the gifted. But life has a way of teaching you a painful truth. Money doesn't respond to hope, it responds to rules. And once I discovered those rules, everything changed. Wealth isn't about a big paycheck, it's about a big philosophy. It's about discipline, choices, and the mindset you bring to every dollar. Money is a servant when you guide it, but a terrible master when you ignore it. And that's what we're here to learn today. I'm going to share with you the 7 money rules that made me wealthy, not just financially, but in freedom, in confidence, and in peace of mind. Master these rules, and you won't just earn a living, you'll design a life. When I was a young man, I thought the whole purpose of life was just to work hard, get a job, and keep the bills paid. And I did exactly that. I worked. I traded my time for a paycheck. But one day, someone looked me in the eye and said, "You're working for a living, but you're not working for a fortune." That stopped me cold. See, a paycheck is good. It buys bread, it keeps the lights on, it pays the rent. But let me tell you the truth. A paycheck will never buy you freedom. A paycheck will never buy you choices. And what you really want in life is not just survival, it's freedom. Now, here's the difference. A wage will make you a living, but profits can make you a fortune. And the wealth you build, the independence you earn, that's what gives you the freedom to say yes when you want to and no when you have to. That's what allows you to live life on your terms instead of someone else's. Most people spend their entire lives working hard, but only working for their boss, their bills, their taxes. They never think of working for themselves. They never imagine that part of their effort each week could be invested into building something that belongs to them. I'm here to tell you, if you keep doing only what you're paid to do, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's decision. But if you start putting just a little time, a little creativity into building something of your own, you change the game. Now, I'm not saying you should quit your job tomorrow. No, keep your job. It pays the bills, and it's honorable to be a good employee. But take 5 to 10% of your time, just a sliver, and start a side project. Maybe it's freelancing on the weekend. Maybe it's a small business in the evenings. Maybe it's learning a skill that allows you to earn beyond your wage. When I started, I didn't have a big empire. I sold products on the side. I studied business. I tested ideas. The fortune doesn't come overnight. But what matters is that you plant the seed. Think of it this way. If you give 40 hours to your job, give 4 hours to yourself. Build something that pays you not once, but over and over again. Work once, get paid multiple times. That's wealth thinking. That's what separates survival from freedom. Here's the philosophy. Don't just let your life be measured in paychecks. Build streams of income that outlive the job, that outlast the hours you put in. Because the ultimate goal is not just to make a living, it's to design a fortune, a future, a freedom that belongs only to you. When I was in my 20s, I learned one of the most painful lessons of my life. It wasn't about working hard. I knew how to work. It wasn't about ambition. I had plenty of that. The lesson was this: it's not how much you make that determines your financial future, it's how much you keep. I was earning money, but I was also spending every dime. And the trouble with that philosophy is simple. If your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall. Most people think debt is normal. Credit cards, car loans, buy now, pay later. But let me tell you what debt really is. It's tomorrow's freedom, sold today at a discount. Every time you borrow what you don't have, you're not just paying interest in dollars, you're paying interest in stress, in sleepless nights, in lost choices. Debt is a thief. It steals not just money, but peace of mind. The secret is to live with dignity, not extravagance. You don't need to impress anyone with what you wear, drive, or spend. When I was young, I wanted to look successful before I became successful. So I bought things I didn't need with money I didn't have. And the only people who were impressed were the ones who sold it to me. That's not wealth, that's bondage. Real wealth is quiet. It's steady. It doesn't scream in the driveway. It whispers in your options, in your ability to walk away when something doesn't serve you. So let me give you a simple formula. It's not complicated, but it works if you work it. Take 100% of your income and divide it into 3 categories. 70% for living, that's rent, food, clothing, the basics of life. 20% for saving and investing, because if you don't pay yourself, no one else will. And 10% for giving, because contribution keeps you human, it keeps you balanced, it reminds you that money is a servant, not a master. Follow this formula, and you'll always be ahead. Ignore it, and I promise, no matter how much you make, you'll always feel behind. You might say, but I can't live on 70%. That's the challenge. Adjust your lifestyle, not your philosophy. Discipline is painful at first, but it is far less painful than regret. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how you train yourself to handle what you earn. Because if you can't manage $1, you won't manage 100. And if you can't manage 100, you won't manage 1,000. Money doesn't change you, it only magnifies who you already are. So remember, the goal isn't to look rich, it's to be free. Spend less than you earn, save more than you think you can, and give enough to keep your heart open. Because wealth is not built in extravagance, it's built in discipline. And discipline today is what guarantees freedom tomorrow. When I was a boy, I was taught that the way to get ahead in life was simple. Work hard. And for many years, that's all I knew how to do. I worked long hours, gave all my energy, and thought the harder I worked, the richer I'd become. But then I learned the truth. You can work hard with your back, but you can get wealthy only if you put your money to work. A wage can buy you a living, but investments can buy you a fortune. Money is a servant if you teach it how to work. But if you ignore it, it quietly slips away and serves someone else. Every dollar you earn has a job description. You can spend it, waste it, or put it to work. And here's the secret. When you put it to work, it never gets tired, never takes a sick day, never complains about overtime. Money, once trained, becomes the most loyal employee you will ever have. I remember when I discovered the power of compounding. It was explained to me like this. If you plant a seed, you don't just get one seed back, you get a tree. And from that tree come more seeds, and from those seeds come more trees. Before long, you have an orchard. That's the miracle of compounding. But here's the tragedy, most people spend their seeds. They eat them today and wonder why they have no orchard tomorrow. Now, the strategy is not complicated. You don't have to be a Wall Street genius. Start simple. Put your money into things that grow over time. Index funds, mutual funds, a rental property, a business, or even knowledge that multiplies your earning ability. It doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be consistent. If you invest a portion of your income month after month, year after year, the money begins to do the heavy lifting. While you sleep, it works. While you rest, it grows. But let me give you a warning. Never chase quick riches. I've seen too many people lose everything because they wanted wealth overnight. Wealth is like a tree. It takes time to grow roots before it can stand tall. If you water it, protect it, and give it time, it will provide shade for your whole life. But if you keep uprooting it, chasing the next hot idea, you'll never enjoy its fruit. So here's the practical step. Start today. Take a portion of what you earn and put it into an investment that compounds. Don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time never comes. Even if it's small, start. Because what matters most is not the amount, but the discipline. Remember this, if you learn to make money, work harder than you do, you'll reach a point where your investments earn more while you sleep than you could ever earn while you're awake. And that's when you know freedom is no longer a dream, it's a reality. When I was younger, I had only one source of income, my job. And like most people, I thought that was enough. But here's what I learned the hard way. Dependence on a single income is dangerous. It's like standing on one leg. As long as nothing shakes you, you're fine. But the moment life gives you a push, and life always pushes you, fall. Security doesn't come from one source. It comes from diversification. Think about nature. A river doesn't flow from one drop of rain. It's the combination of streams, creeks, and springs that creates the mighty current. Wealth works the same way. One paycheck can dry up overnight. But when you have multiple streams flowing into your financial life, you create strength, stability, and security. I'll never forget the day I realized how fragile a single paycheck was. I watched men who had given their lives to a company lose their jobs in an instant. They had no other source of income, no backup, no plan. They thought their employer was their security, but your employer is not your security. Your philosophy is your security. Your creativity is your security. Your ability to build streams of income beyond your job is what protects you. So here's the strategy. Start with 3 streams. Your job is the first. It's important. It pays the bills, and it gives you a foundation. But don't stop there. Add a side hustle, something you can build with your spare time, something that belongs to you. Maybe it's freelancing, consulting, selling a product, or even turning a hobby into cash flow. The 3rd stream should be investments, money that grows, multiplies, and pays you even when you're not working. Job, side hustle, and investments, that's your starting trio. And here's the beauty. Once you learn how to create 3, you'll discover how to build 4, 5, 6. Some may be small, some may be large, but together they create a flow of income that no single setback can destroy. That's freedom. That's peace of mind. But let me caution you, building multiple streams is not about scattering your energy everywhere. It's about being intentional. Build one until it's steady, then add another. Don't abandon the first stream when you start the second. Layer them like bricks, one on top of the other, until you have a strong financial foundation. The practical step is simple. Ask yourself today, if my job ended tomorrow, what would I have left? If the answer is nothing, then it's time to get to work. Take an evening each week. Take a portion of your income. Take your skills and begin building another stream. Even if it starts small, it grows. And small streams, over time, create mighty rivers. Remember this, wealth is not about working one job harder. It's about creating enough streams of income that no storm in life can wash them all away. That's not just money wisdom, that's financial freedom. I used to think wealth was a matter of luck. I thought if I worked hard, maybe fortune would smile on me one day and I'd stumble into success. But let me tell you, you don't get rich by accident. You get rich by design. Wishing is easy, planning is work, and the difference between the dreamers and the achievers is not in their desire, it's in their discipline. Too many people sit around hoping their ship will come in. But here's the truth. If you don't send a ship out, you won't have one coming back. Wealth doesn't show up uninvited. It responds to a plan. It responds to intention. Without a plan, money slips through your fingers. With a plan, money has direction, purpose, and growth. When I was young and broke, I had wishes. I wished for a nice car, wished for a big house, wished for freedom. But then someone asked me a question that changed my life. Do you have it on paper? At first I laughed. Why would I need to write down my wishes? But then I realized the act of writing transforms a wish into a goal, and a goal into a plan, and once it's on paper, it becomes real. Here's the strategy. Create a financial vision for your life. Don't just think about what you want, define it. How much do you want to be worth in 5 years? How much do you want saved, invested, growing? Be specific. Don't write, I want to be rich. That's vague. Write, in 5 years, I will have $100,000 invested, $50,000 in savings, and 2 additional income streams. That's clear, that's measurable, and that's achievable. And once you have the vision, break it down into milestones. If the 5-year goal is $100,000 invested, then your first year target might be $15,000. The second year, $30,000. Step by step, year by year, you build momentum. Without milestones, big goals overwhelm you. With milestones, they guide you like markers on the road. Now, don't just keep this plan in your head. Write it down. Review it often. Adjust it as life changes. But never lose sight of the destination. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. But if you aim at something clear, something specific, your actions will align with your aim. Here's the practical step. Tonight, take a pen and paper and write a 5-year financial goal. Be bold, but be clear. Then break it into yearly targets. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Let it remind you that wealth is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. So remember, a wish is a cloud, but a plan is a ladder. Wishing floats in the air, but planning puts your feet on the ground and your eyes on the horizon. Wealth doesn't happen someday, it happens the day you put your plan in motion. When I was broke, I used to think money was all about things. A nicer car, a bigger house, better clothes. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with nice things. They can bring joy, they can be a reward. But here's what I discovered along the way. The greatest thing money can buy is not things, it's time. Wealth is not just measured in dollars, it's measured in freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your days. The freedom to say yes when you want to and no when you need to. If you spend every dollar on things, you'll always be busy taking care of those things. But if you invest your money into buying back your time, you create space for growth, for family, for learning, for creating. Wealth is not about filling your garage, it's about filling your calendar with choices. I remember when I was just starting out, I did everything myself. Every little task, every errand, every chore. I thought I was saving money. But the truth was, I was spending the most valuable resource I had, my time. Then I learned if you use a portion of your money to free yourself from the small tasks, you can invest that time into big opportunities. If you're always mowing the lawn, you can't plant the orchard. If you're always fixing the leaky faucet, you can't build the pipeline. So here's the strategy. Prioritize investments that create time freedom. That could mean hiring someone to handle tasks that drain your energy. It could mean automating part of your business. It could mean delegating work so you can focus on growth. Every hour you free up from low-value activities is an hour you can reinvest into high-value ones. Learning, building, connecting, creating streams of income that outlast your labor. The practical step is simple. Look at your week and ask yourself, what tasks am I doing that could be done by someone else for less than my hourly value? If you can pay someone $10 or $20 to do something that cost you an hour, and you can use that hour to build $100 or $1,000 of value, then that's not an expense, that's an investment. Use your resources to multiply your time. Let me give you an example. When I started earning more, I made a decision. Instead of spending hours each week running errands, I paid someone to handle those tasks. What did I do with that time? I studied. I built my business. I invested in relationships. And those hours returned to me multiplied many times over. So remember this, money spent on things will fade, but money spent on buying your time will pay you back forever. Don't just ask, what can I buy with this money? Ask, how much time can this money buy me? Because in the end, wealth is not the accumulation of stuff, it's the accumulation of choice, and the greatest choice is the freedom to live life on your own terms. When people hear about wealth, they often imagine something grand, a giant leap, a sudden windfall, some dramatic change of fortune. But here's the truth. Success is not built in leaps, it's built in steps. Brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. And the secret is not in the size of the step, but in the consistency of the walk. When I was 25, broke and confused, I thought wealth was out of my reach. I thought it belonged to the lucky, or the talented, or those born into it. But then I discovered something so simple it almost seemed too small. If I could just start and keep going, the small things would grow into big things. It wasn't about saving a fortune overnight. It was about building a habit of saving. It wasn't about investing thousands at once. It was about investing something regularly, no matter how little. Think of it like planting seeds. A farmer doesn't grow a field of wheat by planting one giant seed. He plants many little seeds, day after day, season after season. Each seed seems insignificant, but together they create a harvest. Wealth works the same way. $1 saved may not change your life, but the habit of saving will. One small investment may not buy freedom today, but the discipline of investing will open the door tomorrow. Here's the strategy. Focus on consistency, not size. Don't tell yourself you'll start once you have more. Don't wait for the right time. The right time is now. If all you can save is $1 a day, save it. If all you can invest is $50 a month, invest it. Because consistency compounds and habits, once formed, become unstoppable forces. I remember when I first began setting aside money. It was such a small amount, it almost felt embarrassing. I thought, what difference will this make? But I stayed with it. Week after week, month after month, and over time, the habit became stronger than the doubt. The amounts grew, the discipline deepened, and before long, I had something meaningful. The small start became the foundation of a great achievement. The practical step is clear. Begin today, no matter how small. If it's $1, start there. If it's 5 minutes of learning, start there. If it's a small piece of your paycheck, set aside, start there. The key is not what you begin with. The key is that you begin and you stay consistent. Because discipline doesn't come from the size of the act, it comes from the repetition of the act. So remember, wealth is not a sudden event, it is a steady process. It's not built on bursts of effort, but on habits repeated over time. If you will start small and stay consistent, the days will add up, the efforts will compound, and one day you will look back amazed at how far those little steps carried you. Greatness is not built in a day, it is built daily. One of the greatest lessons wealth taught me is this: today's sacrifice is tomorrow's wealth. The temptation of the moment is always loud. The new car, the latest gadget, the night out, the impulse to buy something shiny, all of it whispers to you, you deserve this now. And while it may feel good for a moment, here's the truth. Wealth is not built in moments of impulse. It is built in moments of discipline. Most people trade the future for the present. They spend tomorrow's money today, then wonder why the future never improves. But the wise learn to do the opposite. They trade the present for the future. They say no to the little luxuries so they can say yes to freedom. They say no to the instant pleasure so they can say yes to the lasting reward. That's the art of delayed gratification, giving up what you want now for what you want most. When I was young, I used to spend every dollar I earned. I worked hard, and my money vanished as quickly as it arrived. Then I met a mentor who asked me a simple question. Do you want to look rich, or do you want to be rich? That question struck me, because I realized most people are busy looking rich, while very few are busy becoming rich. Looking rich comes from indulging every desire in the moment. Becoming rich comes from discipline, the ability to wait, the ability to hold back, the ability to invest instead of indulge. Here's the strategy. Trade small pleasures for long-term gains. That doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means you choose carefully. Instead of buying a new phone every year, maybe invest that money. Instead of dining out 5 times a week, reduce it to 2 and put the rest into savings. The goal is not to live without joy, but to live with wisdom. Because the joy of financial independence, of freedom, of choice, far outweighs the fleeting thrill of a purchase. The practical step is simple but powerful. Before every purchase, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, maybe you don't need it. That one question has the power to separate the important from the trivial, the temporary from the lasting. 5 years from now, the shoes will be worn out, the gadget outdated, the meal forgotten, but the investment, the savings, the discipline, those will still be paying you back. Let me tell you, when you master this principle, life changes. Because every time you delay gratification, you are not denying yourself, you are empowering yourself. You are building a future that is stronger, freer, and more abundant. And the beauty is, the sacrifices that feel heavy today become invisible tomorrow because they've turned into something far greater. So remember, the wealthiest among us are not those who indulged the fastest, but those who endured the longest. The harvest always belongs to those who had the patience to plant, water, and wait. When I was young and broke, I thought the secret to making more money was to simply work more hours. If I could just put in more time, I thought, then surely I'd earn more. But I soon discovered a painful truth. The marketplace doesn't pay you for time, it pays you for value. Some people work 10 hours a day and struggle to pay their bills. Others work fewer hours and earn a fortune. What makes the difference? It isn't the clock, it's the value you bring to the marketplace. Money is nothing more than the echo of value. If you chase money, it runs from you. But if you focus on increasing your value, money finds its way to you almost naturally. You can't just wish for wealth, you have to deserve it. The marketplace rewards those who bring solutions, who solve problems, who elevate others, who create more than they consume. So the strategy is simple, but it requires discipline. Focus on skills and contribution. Ask yourself every day, how can I make myself more valuable? Because if you want more, you must become more. If you want to earn more, you must learn more. The bigger your skills, the greater your contribution. The greater your contribution, the bigger your rewards. When I met my mentor, he told me something that stayed with me for life. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That was a revelation. Up to that point, I had only worked hard on my job, but my income didn't grow much. The day I started working harder on myself, reading, learning, practicing, developing my communication, my leadership, my ability to influence, everything began to change. Here's the practical step. Choose one valuable skill and commit to mastering it. It could be sales. because sales is the bridge between product and people. It could be communication, because nothing moves in this world without words. It could be investing, because wealth grows when money is managed wisely. It could be leadership, because every organization rises or falls on leadership. Pick one skill and make it your craft. Dedicate an hour a day to improving it, and in 5 years, you'll be unrecognizable. Think about it. Someone who is paid $10 an hour and someone who is paid $1,000 an hour both have the same 60 minutes. What separates them is not the clock, but the value they deliver in that time. The market will always pay for value. So the more valuable you become, the more the world opens its wallet in your direction. So don't just chase money, create value. Chase mastery. Chase contribution. Chase the ability to solve bigger problems. Because the day you stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I become more valuable? That's the day wealth begins to chase you. One of the sneakiest traps on the road to wealth is what I call lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. Your income goes up, and so do your expenses. You get a raise, and suddenly, the old car doesn't look so good. The bigger paycheck arrives, and suddenly, the smaller house feels too small. You start earning more, and instead of investing the difference, you spend the difference. Before long, you're making twice as much as you did 5 years ago, but you're just as broke. I've met people who earned a modest income and lived with dignity, and I've met people who earned fortunes and lived in debt. The difference wasn't in the money, it was in the discipline. Remember this, bigger income shouldn't mean bigger waste. More money should mean more options, more investments, more freedom, not more bills. The strategy is simple. Keep your expenses stable as your income grows. Now, I don't mean never improve your lifestyle. If you're working hard, you deserve a better meal now and then, or maybe a nicer suit. But here's the key. Don't let your lifestyle outrun your wealth. If you earn an extra $1,000 a month, don't spend an extra $1,000. Maybe spend $100, but invest $900. That's how freedom is built. When I was climbing out of debt, I remember the first time I earned a significant bonus. My mind started racing. New clothes, new furniture, maybe even a new car. But my mentor stopped me and said, "Don't celebrate with consumption, celebrate with accumulation." That phrase changed my thinking forever. I realized that if I always celebrated increases in income with increases in spending, I'd never escape the cycle. So instead, I started celebrating by putting that extra money to work, investing it, saving it, building assets. And let me tell you, the thrill of watching money grow lasts much longer than the thrill of watching money disappear. Here's the practical step. When your income rises, increase your investments, not your expenses. Build a habit of upgrading your wealth before you upgrade your wardrobe. Buy assets before you buy toys. Every time you get a raise, decide in advance how much of it will go towards savings, investments, or building your future. That way, you never fall into the trap of living at the edge of your means. Because here's the reality. If you can't manage a little, you won't manage a lot. Wealth is not built by earning more. It's built by keeping more. And the discipline to control your lifestyle is what determines whether you'll ever reach freedom. So beware of lifestyle inflation. Don't let your life expand to match your paycheck. Let your wealth expand to match your discipline. Because freedom doesn't come from how much you earn, it comes from how much you keep and how wisely you use it.